Have you ever questioned the quality of your clothing and how they're made? Why so expensive? Why so cheap? Are there even clothes still made in the U.S.? We will find out, so stay with us for another Lakeshore Focus.
Programming is supported by NIPSCO. Today's young minds are constantly reimagining what our world will be like tomorrow. That's why NIPSCO is upgrading its infrastructure now, so we're ready for whatever comes next. More information at nipsco.com/future.
Welcome again to Lakeshore Focus, a weekly show highlighting the key issues, important events, and interesting people in our region. I'm Keith Kirkpatrick. Ever wonder about the quality of our clothing these days? Where are they made and why such a huge range of pricing? Is everything made overseas? With us on the show today are two people who can help answer these puzzling questions. We have Robert Ordway, who is the owner-operator of Rusted Oak, and Nancy Van Santen, who is the founder and owner of Piper's Children's Boutiques. So, glad to have you both on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So I tried to dress a little bit nicer since we were talking about clothing today because I thought I might get critiqued or something.
You're always well dressed, Keith.
I try, but you look very good. You both look very stylish. I like this. So we're just going to kind of talk about business and I mean, everybody's always talks about clothing and things. So to get our viewers up to date, talk about what you've got. So Rusted Oak, where is the store and what are you selling?
Well, the store is located at 19 Lincoln Way, which is in historic downtown Valparaiso, just across the street from the courthouse. We primarily focus on retail men's clothing, sportswear, as well as tuxedo rentals and custom clothing.
Okay, and Nancy, talk about you got two stores, right?
Yes.
Okay, one in?
We are down Valparaiso, and the other one is in Fishers outside Indianapolis.
Okay, so, and what do you sell?
Children's boutiques, high-end clothing.
Okay, you both are kind of high-end, right?
Yep.
Okay, so why did you kind of pick that market or kind of go more to the high side?
I think for me, based on the research that I've done over the years and my own involvement as a consumer, I've been trained to buy quality over price, and a wardrobe should be an investment. And instead of looking at the price of the garment, look at the price per wearing. And so when I noticed that when you invest in a piece of clothing, it's like everything else, whether it be a car or a home, over time, you're going to get a better value out of that garment.
Why did you go more to the high
I
end?
agree with him, but also there was not a place that you could buy children's clothing, quality boutique clothing in Northwest Indiana. And I opened the first store in Hobart 34 years ago. So
you've been doing this a while.
yes.
34 years. And Robert, you've been in 34 days?
Hours.
No. I know you've put a lot more hours in.
Certainly.
But you've been in just really for a few months,
Yeah,
right?
since last November.
Okay. So this is interesting what you brought up about how do you see kind of the whole marketplace? It seems like the vast majority of people buy clothes like it's just a commodity and like to buy lots of it and fill their closets and their drawers they're really not looking for that wearability or that long-term. I mean, how do you see that? How's the market segment itself like that?
Well, particularly for men's clothing, it's definitely changed a lot in the last few years. I would say clothing used to be something, there are two types of goods, the type that we use and the type that we use up. And for men's clothing, it's transitioned from making those timeless investment pieces to fast fashion. And men are, with the generations of men, baby boomers versus Gen Xers and millennials, the interest level in clothing has done nothing but increase, and the responsibility of who purchases those clothes. 50 years ago, women were the primary consumers of men's clothing for their significant others, and now with the younger generation, since men are single a lot longer, they've had to take their own responsibility.
We need to clarify that part. Women were the
primary consumers for males.
Women used to buy for the men, right?
Correct.
So they would go shopping for them. I guess I do remember those days. It's changed a little bit. So what was that term you used? The wearability, what was that?
Well, in terms of consumer, in terms of goods that we use versus goods that we use up, so clothes have become very disposable
Okay.
in our society.
But in children's, how old do the children, what's your kind
We
of
go
cutoff?
up to size 16, but that's not the case in my store. They don't come in to look for disposable play clothes. For instance, christening, they're heirloom pieces that they hand down through family.
So they're looking for nice stuff.
Yeah, and pieces for special occasions, which they'll either hand down their outfits to their siblings or someone else, but we don't sell disposable clothes, but there is a market for that.
So it's been a long time since I know what a size 16 is. So is that, how old is their kids when they get to be wearing a size 16?
Probably in Indiana, 12.
Okay. So why'd you say it that way? That's interesting.
Well, because the kids are bigger
Okay.
in Indiana.
And so they kind of outgrow, because we have a problem with overweight people in this state, right? Is that what
Well,
you're trying to politely say?
No, not at all.
Or they're just bigger?
Kids
grow
are
up
getting
faster?
bigger through the years, yes,
Okay.
yes.
So it's just probably generally that way. So when do people make this decision to start, when do people realize, or what makes them realize that clothing is more of an investment than a disposable commodity? How does somebody realize that, or when do they come to realize that?
I think when they buy a winter jacket and the zipper breaks. So instead of spending half the price for a winter jacket twice, they would buy a good quality and they can hand it down.
That's really interesting, because when your zipper breaks in the winter, it's really noticeable and you become very uncomfortable and you say, why did I buy this cheap piece of clothing
Exactly.
that's falling apart on me? So that's a good example of it. What else do you think? I mean, there's probably a number of these
Sure,
Oh, yeah.
sure.
situations. When else do people wake up to this?
I definitely think young professionals, when their wardrobe has to change against their will, you know, you're in college, now kids are wearing sweatpants and hoodies to class, and then now it comes time for a job interview, and then they go into the world where they may have to dress up 5 days a week, and when they're wearing the suit that often, and you know, they notice in 6 months that a generic suit's burned out, whether it be by the dry cleaners or just their normal wear and tear of jumping in and out of a car, and they're like, well, maybe I should take this a little bit more seriously and should invest in something that's going to last 5 or 10 years, or perhaps longer. And that's, I think comes back to consumer education. Some people find out on their own, and some people learn from others.
I want to come back to the consumer a little bit, but I want to talk, maybe shift over and say, I think there's a belief that nothing is made in America in terms of clothing anymore, just that everything's has gone overseas. Is this true or false?
I still buy Made in America. It's hard to find. I would say I have 115 vendors from when I started, and I have one left maybe, but they went out of business last Thursday. But it's hard to find. There are no sock manufacturers that I can find, but I do have a few that are still made in America.
So out of 130, those are American companies that produced children's clothing, is what you're saying, and literally made them here.
Well, I don't know if they all made them here from the beginning, no.
But at least they were American companies.
Right. My hat manufacturer was in business for 112 years, and they went out of business in January.
So your last vendor in the United States is gone?
No, I'm just saying the ones that, there's new ones coming all along.
Okay, so there's new
Opening and
companies.
opening and closing.
So what do you see in these new companies? I mean, is this remnants of the old companies, or is it
Some are trying
entrepreneurs?
to be made in America. It's hard.
Why is it so difficult to make clothing here?
The wages, I think,
Just the cost?
the cost.
So what's your take on, are we still seeing American-made clothing? You're buying a different kind of clothes. She's got children's, you're doing men.
I would say I have about 60 vendors in my store, and I would say 5 of them are American made, or at least have that imprinted on it. Typically custom clothing can be made in America because of the craftsmanship. However, Italian tailors are, you know, around the time of World War II, so they're passing away every day. And so a true bespoke suit made by hand is almost, I wouldn't say non-existent, but in places like Indiana, be very, very hard to find. We do have a few made in America sock vendors, but just like being in a highly unionized area here with whether it be steel or building and construction trades, you have two ingredients. You have materials and you have labor. And your finest fabrics are typically coming out of Italy or England. Well, your only other component's labor. And in some countries, developing nations, the wages, some are fair, some are not fair. I don't think you can categorize any of that, but it's significantly less cost
Can
than
you find
the
that
United
out
States.
about what the labor cost is, or I mean, is that readily available for you guys, where you can say, I'm not going to buy from a sweatshop, so
I don't know how I would find that out.
The supply chain is really hard to, basically, I don't want to say discover, but the investigation is kind of leads you into a black hole.
So that's really difficult at your end to know this. Is fabric, you said fine fabric is made England, Italy. Do we still make fabric in this country much? Are you aware of that?
I don't.
I've heard
think
most
so.
of that has
Do we?
died off.
There is one bow tie manufacturer I work with that does, but it's pretty rare.
Okay, so the vast majority of this has gone to other parts of the world at this point. So does that concern you, or do customers come in and ask those kind of questions about where this came from?
Yes.
Okay, so they do ask.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And so when a mom comes in to buy clothing for her kids, I mean, what does she just say? Are these American made?
Occasionally.
Okay.
Not every day. That's not their main concern.
Are you then able to like go, this is American made, this
Yes.
is American made?
Yes.
So you know that piece?
Yes.
And do you know that with yours?
Absolutely.
Do people ask that question?
A fair amount, especially when the price starts to get higher. We start talking about suits that are in the $800 range and up, and then if I tell them it's made in China, or then like, well, there's an association of quality with being American made, and that always isn't necessarily the truth, because we make a custom suit out of China, and it has a beautiful hand-stitched lining and canvas on the inside, and quite frankly, it's better than a lot of American products that I have.
Well, it's interesting if you think about this. If people are looking for American made, and I think there's that correlation that says our labor is too expensive to produce this, so it's being done other places. But if I'm buying high end, if I'm buying an $800 suit, I'm thinking there should be enough margin in there for that to be made in America by a more high paid worker to put that together. Doesn't that make sense?
I would say yes, but the amount of man or woman hours that go into constructing a jacket are fairly significant. So I think if you just price it out in American wages, you still come out to about a $1,000 suit. You can just get more bells and whistles with a $1,000 international, Chinese or Thailand or some country over there, versus the American-made suit for $1,000.
Is your margin better on higher end clothing by percentage than it is on cheap clothing? I mean,
No.
and what is that kind of markup generally on the cheap particularly?
I'll let you answer that.
It really depends. Some of our higher end stuff, 25%. The most I have anything marked up in the store is about 3 times. But people seem to think that retailers somehow double their money on their goods. But I equate it to going to the stock market. We both go to the market and we pick goods. Well, we hit home runs on some of them. We hit singles on others. And then, for instance, this last Christmas season, the entire industry got destroyed on outerwear because they did so well the 2 years before, and there's no real way to forecast inventory other than the naive method from the previous year. And so when you take a bath on all those goods, your margins really level out. So
I think it's important for consumers to understand this a little bit better, because that's why public television is such a good format, because people who view these shows really want to understand this stuff, and I think they oftentimes try to educate other people about it. But that makes sense to me. If you buy an item you pay $100 for and you sell it for $300, you may stock 6 of those, but you might only sell 3 of the 6. So you haven't made any money yet.
correct.
So you're still holding on.
Yes.
So that sounds pretty dangerous. That's probably the same for you, right?
Yes, but my manufacturers now are telling us what we have to price our goods at. They're asking for contracts on markdowns, the price you put on it, if you can advertise or not advertise, because the internet is undercutting brick and mortar stores, and it hurts their brand. So higher end brands, I don't know, do you find this with your
Yeah, there definitely is
manufacturers?
a move against, think they'd call it gray sourcing, where the channels, where it finds itself on eBay or Etsy or some sort of, I do have a few signed contracts where I will price at retail manufacturer suggested price, so.
And now, is that to protect the customer like you, or is that you're saying that's to protect their brand?
Their brand first, and then supposedly brick and mortar stores from people getting goods in their homes and selling it at a lower price without paying for employees' taxes, workman comps.
So that's how they're able to do it. Again, I go back to that $100 example. You buy something for $100, you mark it up to sell it for $300. You've got to build in your heat and your store and your help. Whereas if I was your competition, I could spend that $100, stick it in my garage, and sell it online, and I don't have any cost at all because my garage is part of my house, and all I'm doing is packaging and shipping it, right? So I can sell it for $200.
Exactly.
And make money while you're sleeping.
Exactly, and it's happening
A lot.
a lot.
So the manufacturer then says, okay, everybody's going to sell these for $300, right? Now that's interesting. If I have to sign that contract and I'm still out of my garage, I'm going to make more money, right? But I'm at least competing head to head with you now. At least you can say for the same price, you get personal service.
Right.
Is that what it is? So what else do I get from you if the price is the same and the product's the same? Online versus you.
You can try it on. You can feel it. Quality goods feel better on. So, I mean, would you buy a pair of shoes online unless you went to a store and tried it on?
I don't buy anything online, so
Wow.
I'm good. I'm on your side on this.
Yeah.
So, but you're right, because that doesn't make sense to me. Why do people buy clothing online when
Well,
people
because
need to
they're
try
in their
stuff on?
pajamas at 2 in the morning.
And they just want to buy something?
And they get in the mood, yes.
Yeah, impulse, convenience I think is the biggest driver.
But because of trying things on, how does that work? I mean, so they ship you something and it doesn't fit you.
Well, I think the internet is moving to an age now. Look at Amazon, where places have free same-day shipping, free returns. So they've eliminated a lot of the time or risk to the consumer. But just like selling online, it still takes time to go drop off a package and re-tape it up. So I guess at the end of the day, how do you value your time? And do you value it logically?
Do you think retail businesses are just going to disappear eventually because of the online sales? I know you probably hope not, but do you really think it's that bad that we're going to see this collapse, or are we turning the corner on this? I know I'm asking you to look in your crystal ball, right?
I think it's a hybrid. When I worked at Brooks Brothers and J. Crew, when we were tracking sales, we get our own zip code and what have you. They're finding out that there are a lot of people who use online to see what you have in order to make the justification to come visit the brick and mortar. Then there are people who kind of exploit brick and mortar to try things on, but then they go home and then buy it online for less.
Okay, that's got to be really irritating.
Oh, yes.
A few people in Valpo have mentioned to me multiple times that's frustrating.
Do they tell you right to your face, so like, I'm trying this on? I mean, how do you know that they're going to order it online? Do you get a sense of it?
I do. Do you?
I've had a few
do.
experiences with it.
Sometimes they take pictures, try it on, and say, I'll buy it online. But mostly they'll come and say, I already have this, I bought it online. I mean, it's obvious.
So why are they coming in then if they've already bought it online?
Well, sometimes they like to look and feel it and try it on.
This has got to be really frustrating for you guys, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
Do you want to kick
Yes.
people out of the store?
Well, that's,
No,
well, that's
no.
Where, well, that's where the relationship component, coming back to continue on your question, brick and mortar I don't think will disappear because we live in a society after social media that we are so relationship starved, and humans are social creatures and desire relationships. And so the value proposition that we have is not just on price. You may pay a little bit more at the end of the day for what we have to offer, but we have additional services, whether it is visiting your home or office, in my case, or rebuilding a wardrobe, or in her case, there may be a special event that we're going to prepare you for. Hey,
So I have to pay a little bit more to get your good humor and your jokes, and you tell me that I look good in your outfit?
absolutely.
Well, but you know, that is important to people. I mean, they do like to say, I like somebody to say, that looks good on you, or that doesn't really quite fit for you. So that is helpful, but people forget that, don't they? Do kids' clothes, they try all those kids' clothes on too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They try clothes on before they buy them.
So
Mostly.
I didn't know if they just kind of came in and just said, oh, I like that for my granddaughter.
Occasionally, that happens.
But more often they're in there trying things on.
Right.
Okay. So we're down toward the end here. So if there was a message that you wanted consumers in general to know about your industry and about your businesses, what would that be? You get a chance here. Viewers, what do you want viewers to know about your industry, about your business?
We're there, we love doing it, and we hope to see you.
Okay. You both
And
looked at each
I
other
do
like, who's going to go first?
I do like the shop local movement, because you have to support your community if you want it to stay. And Valpo is a wonderful, wonderful community.
Okay. What's your message out there in the last minute?
Definitely echoing the sentiment of live local, buy local. With bigger businesses, you're just allowing dollars to permanently leave your local economy, and that has a lasting effect. But more importantly, about coming back to relationships and the services that we provide, and we're passionate about the industry. We're not just, I don't think anyone goes into retail to get rich. I think we go in there because we like working 100 hours a week. But we really care about the industry and what clothing, not only is an expression of individualism, but also what it can do for an individual in all aspects of their life, their work, their play, their family life, and we want to support them in their pursuits in life.
Great. Well, thanks for being on the show. Robert gets to see me because I do come in his store and talk to him and listen to his jokes. And now that I have grandkids, at some point my wife's going to be showing up at your place, I'm pretty sure. We haven't had to do that for a while, but it's coming. So thanks for both being here, and good luck with your businesses.
Thank
Thank you for having us.
Thanks. A number of our local communities have created campaigns to promote the idea and encourage the action of buying local. They plant seeds in our minds which instruct us on the merits of shopping with our local and regional retailers. They suggest that online purchases support distant economies and damage our local ones. The appeal tells us that our friends, neighbors, and families invest in these close-by businesses and are employed by such establishments. The call is upon us to make our purchases with people we know or live near us. Instead of surfing the web, grab your Save the Earth shopping bag and list of needs and wants, get in your car or put on your walking gear, and head to the nearest store for some serious buying. Some of these same marketing efforts urge us to buy only American-made products. I'm not as convinced to buy American as to buy local. I am more of a free market person and realize that we are in a world marketplace. Our global economy is complex, with parts and services interwoven, connected, and reliant upon businesses which are located all over the planet. I strongly believe that all people everywhere need economic opportunity. That in itself is a topic for another Closing Thoughts. Let's go back to our Buy Local campaign. Here are a few additional ideas for supporting our local retailers and service providers. These local establishments create a tone, perhaps a culture, in your community. They send a message of, we are a thriving, vital, exciting place to live and work. The owners invest their assets into buildings, equipment, and furnishings. These assets keep the real estate values solid or growing in our towns and cities. They spend money on supplies, raw materials, and labor. Their purchasing feeds into a multiplier effect that contributes to the growth of other related businesses. The people employed in these enterprises donate money and volunteer in local efforts to make our communities better places. Maybe one of the most important impacts is face-to-face interaction with each other. When we spend time with counter clerks, service providers, servers, cashiers, delivery people, and salespersons, we develop relationships with people who are just like us, trying to make it in this world. Here's my closing sales pitch. Don't be a yokel, buy local. I know it's corny, but you'll remember it. I just have to go and look up the definition of yokel now. Hey, thanks for watching our show. We hope you enjoyed it and learned something. There are more past Lakeshore Focus shows, and they are available on our website, which is listed on your screen. You can also send your comments and thoughts to our email address. We would like to hear your ideas. I also hope you are enjoying Counterpoint with Gerard McClendon, which follows this show every Friday. Be sure and join us next week for another Lakeshore Focus. Until then, I'm Keith Kirkpatrick saying, make a positive difference in our world today.
Is supported by NIPSCO. Today's young minds are constantly reimagining what our world will be like tomorrow. That's why NIPSCO is upgrading its infrastructure now, so we're ready for whatever comes next. More information at nipsco.com/future.